This is the plot on the sunny September day, in the middle of September. I think it's about the 14th. The paving slabs are still there and everything seems to be working. The water barrel fills up automatically. The tomatoes are quite interesting because I've organised a underground watering system which I relied on quite a lot, and it hasn't worked that well. The tomatoes ended up getting a black spot underneath like that, and that is called blossom end spot, and it's caused by lack of water really, because the tomatoes need calcium which they can't get if they're underwatered. So we've had quite a lot of tomatoes with blossom end spot. Since then I've been watering them fairly regularly and not relying on this automatic watering system, and the blossom end spot has stopped. We've had about 15 pounds of tomatoes so far, and very nice and firm and orange and red they are. I have cropped them yesterday, got about 5 pounds more. The beans are in the middle of their cropping season. We've had absolute pounds of these beans. I've bought a freezer to store them in, and I've almost filled the freezer, but they need to be picked again. There's about twice as much coming along, so I'm having to give them away to friends. There's loads of beans, as you can see, and they're really delicious. The Bryce raspberries have come along quite well. There's one or two that haven't taken, but that's all. And they are cropping their autumn crop. We've had a summer crop, but the autumn crop is the main crop that they give. So I'm looking forward to that. One thing that there's a bean I missed. One thing that I've learned is to use 8-foot canes split into two, because the 4-foot canes aren't very thick. And these 8-foot canes split into two are able to support the tomatoes much better than 4-foot canes. I've had to secure the bamboo canes to a very good wire because the wind would have just blown them all over. We've had a really good crop of raspberries and blackcurrants and gooseberries. There isn't any plums on the plum tree yet. The pears on the pear tree seem to be coming along quite nicely. We might get a few of those that we can eat. I've had to cut back the roses because they've had the start of black spot on them and they're not too healthy. I've had some good roses out of them, but they need fairly severely cutting back to make sure that the black spot doesn't take. And I've left a spray there to spray them every time I'm here. We have been having some mare's tails quite a lot, and every time I come down I've gotten into the habit of taking up as many mare's tails as I can see. So in that way I keep in control of that. We have some spare beans which are planted there in the wigwam. I've bought some lavender. There it is, which I hope to plant. The blueberries are looking good. I'll have to make sure that they're planted in acid soil this time, because the soil there is far too alkaline. The raspberries here have not done that well. I hope that it's because of the water last year and that they're recovering. But they look a bit sorry for themselves. The rhubarb, I've picked a bit. It needs picking again. The wind's still broken that, and I haven't fixed that. And that's about it. I'll take you around to the fairy glen just now. And that's the plot, looking very nice in September. Bye. If you look carefully, you might be able to see the fairy glen. There's some gnomes in my fairy glen, and if on the other side we've got some fairies. There's a few of them, all friends. And there's one that has lost her wing and is looking very sad. Oh, poor little fairy. And there's a frog and a little rabbit, and if you look carefully there, you'll see another little rabbit there, just somewhere there. The pond has been overgrown. I'll have to make sure that there's not as many lilies next year. And that's the plot from the fairy glen side. There's the fairy glen. Hello, fairy glen.